DAO, and still being here with us and sharing with us all of the up and downs. And yes, in today's community call, as we have briefly shared with you the agenda, in today's session, we are going to have. Let me share the agenda real quick. Yes, so in today's community call, we are going to review and have a brief on the summary of our Hecta Investment Dao in 2022. Ling will lead this session. We would like to tap into how the treasury has been used, and a brief on the invested projects, and also a brief on the plan of 2023 as well. That's the first part that we are all looking forward to it. The second part of the today call is the Hectagon product directions in 2022 in 2023. So this session will be led by K2. So he will share with us on the idea and the direction on how Hectagon has pivoted on just an investment DAO to become a DAO platform and also a blockchain for other DApps to run their decision-making process. This is a very exciting part we have never mentioned in our previous community calls before, so stay tuned for this. And I promise that you will be mind-blown by this session. And the last session of today is the community plan in 2023. So as shared in the second session, that our model has been now pivoted into two separated business, the investment DAO, as we are all a part of right now, and the second thing that we also bring you in as a part of it as well, the new direction for the DAO and DAO platform and blockchain for DAO. We also want to share with you on the community building plan for the second part as well. Yeah, so that's the agenda of today, and I hope you guys will have a fruitful conversation with our DAO council team today. So let's get started with the first session of today, the summary on our investment DAO in 2022. So Ling, are you here? Are you ready?
Hi Felicia, yeah, I'm here.
Hello Ling. I can't hear you.
Hi Felicia, can you hear me now?
Hi, yeah, I can hear you clearly. How are you?
Okay, that's good. I'm good, thank you.
It's okay. Thank you. Okay, so you can share the screen now and start with your session.
Okay, sure. Yeah. Okay, so I think we can start with the overview of the investment fund that we have. As you guys know, we started our investment fund with about $300,000 in the investment fund. You can go on the Hectagon app to see that. Let's sorry. Yeah, let's just look at the whole timeline. So we started out with about you can see it on the yellow part. We start with about $350,000 in the investment fund. Now, mind you, this is including both the Hecta token and also the BUSD token. So in terms of BUSD token, we have about 300,000 in the investment fund to starting out, and currently in the treasury we still have about $150,000 left, with about $86,000 86,000 Hecta token. So roughly we in the last 4 months we have invested about half of our investment treasury, which is about $150,000 into two projects, which is open food chains and fancy. Um, with So in terms of the progress of the companies that we have investing in, open food chains, they open food chain I guess the most relevant date would be like when will they TG that token? And the best answer I can give you guys is that it will still be a long way off uh, from from when they are ready to release that token. So we've been working with them, and we and having conversation with them on ab- about like a weekly basis, and sometimes once every 2 weeks. What we are helping them with now is planning their tokenomics, as well as planning their liquidity. And with the current market situations, our take is that basically there's no liquidities in the market. So it's hinder a lot of any project launch. So that's the bad news for any project that we're investing in, and also the whole market. But the good news is with open food chains, one of the main reason that we invest in open food chains, if you remember in the investment memo, is that open food chain is a companies that living off their own revenue stream. So they are independent, completely dependent on the investment money to be able to sustain themselves, and that's become more and more of an advantage for them in terms of being able to take more times to plan out their products and also plan out their token launch. Um, and so with open food chain in 2023, we will still continue to we will still continue to work with them, because in terms of all the fundamentals of the projects, like why we think that model makes sense, why we think their message about having a blockchain for the food industries is relevant. Basically, all of that is still the same. Everything is just covered under a um, kind of a pessimistic lens of view because of the whole crypto market. Um, so I guess so with open food chain, I think it will take a while, but we are still having a very good investment. Um, so the second project that we're investing in, which is we invest in Fancy $50,000. Fancy they Fancy their tokens actually launch, and you can start buying it on Standard Finance, which is the DEX on the Tan blockchain. Now with the if you go on the DEX and you check the price, currently the FNZ token price is about uh 2.4 cents per token. This 2.4 cents per token is roughly about 5 times compared to when we buy it in. So in terms of unrealized profits on the book, our investment has 5x since we put money into Fancy. But realistically speaking, it is in the same situations with other projects, which is there is very little liquidity in the token market right now. If you look at the price impact of of like doing any transaction with the Fancy tokens, there's like severe uh, price slippage here. So um, so my take with the Fancy token is that the the company is still similar to open food chain. They are a business with a off-chain business model of charging fees from spot clubs, uh, and also with Pansy, they did raise quite a lot of money. It's about $2 million from the Tan ecosystem fund. So with a project like that, it they will still be quite well off into the next year, and so far within the Tan blockchain ecosystem, Fancy is still one of the most notable projects there. So when the liquidity start to get back into the market and start to get back into different ecosystem outside of Ethereum, outside of Binance Smart Chains, outside of Solana, the we are expecting the liquidities for FNZs will also improve as well. That's when we can actually take our profit off the table. So I guess that's covered the two projects that we're investing in already. Now let's go back up a little bit on the overview. So we start the investment funds around the end of August, and since the end of August until now, we've attracted about 285 projects there. With our resource, we were only able to review about a third of them, 110 projects. Of course, we reject most of these projects as well. And this year project is still very like the pipeline for this year is still very heavily influenced by last year's, where about 40% of our pipeline is GameFi projects. But it used to be about like 80% at the end of August. So more and more we see that projects in the market starting to diverse much further from GameFi and into more diverse type of business here. In terms of the vision for next year's, how are we going to use the remaining $150,000 of investment? And honestly, at this time, I can't say for sure. So I know that the one of the things that I think would be in the best interest or for Hectagon and for our fund is that we should definitely basically sit on this money for the first 1 or 2 months of the new year. So the reason being that since 2021, when every project valuation has been quite crazy, we did see a lot of valuation coming down at the end of 2022. You guys probably remember some of the GameFis from CDFis and from Punkasatas that we show off about 4 to 6 weeks ago. If those GameFi projects raise funds from anyone in 2021, they will probably value themselves anywhere between like 20 to 30 million dollars. But when this year when they come to Hectagon, their valuation is about 6 to 8 million dollars. So valuation has gone way down, and I think valuation would still go down further. The reason being that, and also that part of the reason on why we show off a lot of the demo of the GameFi project in the last 5 to 6 weeks, but we end up didn't invest into any of them. And the reason being that the business model, how to make money on Web3s without the liquidities of the retail investor market is very, very unclear. 2021 has kind of misled the whole market to think that okay, everyone has figured out what the business model should be, but with the failures of FTX, Alameda Research, the guy that's supposed to know how the market works, we can safely say that nobody has figured out how to actually make money, how to actually provide a compelling service on Web3s and charging money for the service instead of just focusing on the token liquidities and the token sales. So that's the reason why we decided to not invest in any project in the last 2 months and probably for the next 2 months as well. Because like so business model is one thing. If a project can't really answer about the business model, that's basically push us Hectagon as an investor into the position where as long as we receive our token, we have to sell our token. Because if a business doesn't know how to make money from the market, that just means we are in the positions where we have to sell the earliest to take money off the table for the communities. And that's not really investing. That's the first thing. But the second thing is this year nobody can take any money off the table because there's no money on the table in the first place. There's no liquidity in the retail market. So it's better to wait for a while to see how the business model on Web3 develops and to see what kind of ideas we can still um, we can still discover uh, coming into next year. Um, yeah, I think Felicia, I think that's about my review of the investment DAO part.
Thank you, Ling. I totally got your point on the plan of the usage of this treasury in 2023. So just a little bit on the strategy of the investment, or yeah, in general the macro market. What do you think will be the killer feature of Web3 that we might have discovered already, or it even hasn't existed in the market yet? What do you think in your mind?
So good question, Felicia. So lately I've been checking these tables from DeFi Llamas basically every week,
Mm,
and I have mentioned this a couple times before, but reviewing this table give us a quite clear views in terms of like what sort of business model is currently working on Web3, and if we discount all the chains, basically all the rest that we can see is DeFi.
mm,
Is basically like saving protocols, DEX, NFT marketplace, or lending or derivatives. So so to say like what's the killer feature of Web3? Web3 already has a killer feature which is in DeFi, and it seems like DeFi is doing better to compete with centralized finance.
mm,
But actually, that still cover a very niche a very niche market, because I think the biggest entity in centralized finance is bank. Uh,
mm,
but there's no such thing as a decentralized bank at the moment, because banks work off a balance between deposit and lending that have a very safe um, that has a really low risk. And in others, for bank to be able to operate in that areas of low risk but high volume, uh, there needs to be a lot of people with the needs to basically um, deposit money, but also borrowing monies to do something. And
mm,
and the part about borrowing money to do something is the part where it might seem like a lot of money on DeFi, but that's still nothing compared to centralized finance. Most of the guys that borrow the biggest on DeFi are like these degen crypto traders, where they're able to find some sort of exploit, etc. So so the scale is still too small to uh, for the big business models. But that's not the DeFi fault. I think it's the fact that aside from DeFi, there's like Web3 hasn't shown where it can be applicable. Uh, the
mm,
where it can be applicable the most. And since we are working in DAO, obviously within our teams, we believe that DAO and these decision makings and empowering communities to take decision together, or at least being able to let's say tracking tracking the tracking the performance of the DAOs, or tracking the activities of the DAOs, um, so that people can basically trust into put their trust into the organizations, because they can monitor the activities. Uh, I think that's a very good use case that potentially can bring a lot of people to be more open with Web3s. Uh,
mm,
like we are on an industries where where we talk a lot about the transparencies and everything is on blockchains. But since everyone here is part of Hectagon DAO, like how easy it is for to track like what exactly the Hectagon DAO teams or what exactly are we have we used the money for? It's not easy. Like the answer is it's not easy. Like with at Hectagon DAO, we make an activities tables trackings available for everyone. But this is still like the frustrating part is that this is very close to being able to produce automated financial reports, but this is not a financial report yet anyway. And with all the data supposed to be on Web3s, but like somehow it's still a very difficult challenge to be able to work on a same, let's say a same financial reporting standard, so that everybody can keep in track of the organizations and the people that the community empower to lead the organization. And that's lead to a basically a bigger points of on the rug pull of last year's and some that's still happening this year's. Uh, like uh, like FTX, for example, talking about being transparent, but nobody actually knows what's going on behind the scene at FTX until it's actually bankrupt. Binance promoting for proof of reserve transparency, they but it's like nobody can actually check if they hold the money. Um, and I think now is the right direction to go to find a new another killer features for Web3 that's more friendly with everyone's and get more people onto Web3s. But what sort of like platforms or product or service that will help everybody realize that vision is? So hopefully we are part of that part of that solutions. But I don't know.
Thank you, Ling. I think that's a very interesting answer. So I also believe that DAO and the future of it as the individual's empowerment in terms of your like collaboration, it will drive it will be one of the killer feature of Web3. And because we are also developing a tool and a chain, and that is for DAO developers as well, that K2 will share later. I think that is what we believe, and we are driving on it. So thank you, Link, for the first part of updating with everyone on our investments in 2022 and what is our plan in the next year. Thank you for this part. And now let's head to the second part with K2, which is the product update. K2, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Thank you, Lisa.
Hi, K2.
So, yeah, can you see my screen? I'm sharing my screen. Yeah, I guess
Yeah.
can you see my? Okay. So, hello
Okay.
everyone. So, I think I've been quiet for a while because what we are looking for is a territory that never been in. So, it takes quite a lot of time. So, the things I'm proposed, the product direction that we are going for 2023 will be the one that I will explain to you guys today. So as Link said that actually in Web3 we don't have a lot of use case. Even right now, while running Hectagon, I try to run I'm part of the super team Solana super team now to help the developer community in Vietnam to find to how to build like real use case on Solana. Even Solana is a very fast blockchain. Things happen just like the speed and the experience is just like very similar to Web2, but actually it's really hard for people to find use case on Web3. I mentor around 50 projects, but I don't see a lot of projects that have real use case. So we take a really hard time looking at Web3 and see where the missing pitch. And what we see that that basic on the basic need of humans, we have money, right? We have money, and money is the perfect use case for Bitcoin, and now and the next level of money is finance, and finance is already the use case that Ethereum is serving very well. So what is the next thing? the next two things that human, the old one is fame and power. And we all know that everybody is like going crazy about SocialFi. Everybody talking about SocialFi, even they know shit about it. Like, no one know what SocialFi is, but the underlying thing is like we already have money on chain, and then maybe we might have like power or fame on chain, something like that. So when Hectagon is working on DAO, what we see that in the on the surface we have DAO, right? On the surface, everyone is talking about DAO. Like, but I don't believe that a lot of people really understand DAO. But based on our experience running the community for over 6 months, what we see that actually DAO is just a way that DAO is just like it's just a variant of how we make decisions together. Let's say centralized organization. The way what we make decision in centralized organization is that we have someone make decision. That's all. But DAO mean that we make decision as a group, and actually it is not that simple. Every time we make a decision, we are not going to have just a single vote, because like we all experience the investment portal. In the investment portal, in order for a project to get investors, they have to go through four votes. The first vote is a committee vote. The second one is the investment team vote, and then the council, and last one is the community veto. So what we see that for a decision, actually for a decision you should have a process, and it is not only a simple vote. And we look around and we see that the reason why blockchain is not that we don't have use case in blockchain, because the simple things like voting or power is not there yet in blockchain, and so that's the problem that we try to solve. So the chain we want to build here, I call it D chain. I don't know, maybe in the future we have a better name. But the things we are going to solve is that we are going to build a chain named D chain, and it's going to blockchain to digitalize organization. So I will walk you through like what is the application of this blockchain, why things matter, and especially why we have to build our own blockchain. Why don't we build based on, like, let's say Ethereum or BSC or Solana or whatever platform out there. So the thesis is that making decision as a group is something human we are doing for thousands of years. So as we enter the digital area, we become more familiar with polling feature in chat app and enterprise ERP. If anyone in here working with any ERP software, we all know that in the company we have like governance structure, and yes, and in government we have governance structure, and yes, and we have like formal decision making process. However, that to date right now there's no application to formally put the decision making process into software and enforce that decision afterward. For example, let's say we have like 10 people, one people on Solana, another people on Ethereum, another people on BSC, and these people can vote together and decide that we have a treasury. Let's say the treasury is on Ton network, and we want to spend that treasury to reward someone so they can do something for us. So this is the use case that's very basic use case that what we are looking for to solve. And the next thing is that what happens if it's not that just a simple vote? What happens if we want have a place where we can design a decision tree? For example, if we want to spend the treasury, then the first thing is that we should have a vote for the community to consider if it is okay. And then we have a senior vote that people really looking into it and really execute it. So we have a 2 round of vote. So what we like is that we right now we have, if we want to do it, then we have to do it manually. I think it takes me around 2 to 3 weeks to set up everything, from the snapshot, from the Airtable, and a lot of like manual work in the middle. I can't even name it, in order to build to actually, this is a not very complex process, but it's manual process. So it happened that if I want to change the progress, I want to change the configuration, the progress, it takes a lot of time. And most of the time, like organizations, they are not going to evolve because it's too complex for them to restructure the organization. And you know that in corporate work, restructuring is a big work, right? Restructuring means you have to fire a lot of people and you have to like redo everything in your organization. But what we are trying to do is that we are going to build a blockchain where people can configure their own organization there, and if you want to restructure it, it's okay. It's just a piece of software, and you can do it, and it's very simple. So I will show you how we are going to do it. And another thing, the reason why we do this blockchain, because we see right now people are building many blockchains. I guess that a lot of people in here know me, and I'm think like for the last few months, I'm kind of like uh, going everywhere, telling everyone is that blockchain. What the hell is blockchain? Blockchain is just another cloud computing service, and for Google or for AWS, it's just like general compute, general cloud computing. But blockchain is different. Blockchain is specialized cloud computing, and there's no blockchain can do everything. It's like technically it's impossible. So what we try to do is that we think that's what likely that we need a specialized blockchain to do good at just one thing. And this narrative now becoming more and more popular. You see that now people say about what people talk about Ethereum is that they say, okay, we have layer 2 and Ethereum becomes security. Ethereum is not going to do everything. Ethereum is just doing security. That's all. It stops there. And then we have layer 2. Layer 2 to speed up Ethereum because Ethereum is doing security. But when you speed up the network, so what are you going to do? How are you going to use it? And then in the last several weeks, we hear the term like layer 3, where people try to build like blockchain specifically for a set of applications. So it's like layer 1 for security, layer 2 for speed, and layer 3 is for application specific blockchain. That's an approach when you insist that everything has to run on Ethereum. I'm on the another camp when we see that we have technology like Cosmos and we have technology like Polkadot where we can build a chain from scratch and we can design a chain that solve a use case perfectly. So what we see that more and more we are going to have more and more blockchain, and each blockchain is going to solve a very specific problem, and they're going to have their own ecosystem with multiple community there. So we are going to position ourselves to be a blockchain that we have people to build their own DAO, to build their own community. Actually, I just forget the word DAO. We're going to have people to build their own organization on chain in our chain, and in our chain, people can interact with other people in other blockchain, and once a decision is made, it will be enforced. And another thing is that what I see from the market over the last few years that the DAO tool, actually the tool for the community to sit together and to make decisions is in need. People always say they need it, but no one going to build it. The reason is because there's no money to build it. Because most of the chain right now they focus either on decentralized finance, or they focus on games, or they focus on social finance. And the business model is very clear. But for DAO, there's no business model because if you don't build a blockchain specifically for people to make decisions together, and then if you don't do that, there's no way for you to build a business model around it. So so what we position ourselves is that in the world that we have a lot of chain in a multi-chain world, and we will position ourselves at the chain to have people to build community there, and other chain just like whenever you open whatever your chain, and you don't have to worry about DAO anymore. Your community can use this blockchain, this D chain, and build your community in that chain. And at the same time, your user don't have to leave your chain to use the chain. Just use your chain as usual. So the idea that in the roadmap in Q1 in the roadmap we divide into two parts. The first trend is that the first part is that we are going to design a tool to help people to make a decision process. Let me show you how a decision process look like. A decision making process look like this. Actually, it's a series of checkpoints. It look like a decision tree. For example, this is one checkpoint, and people will design this checkpoint. And let's say this checkpoint has 3 different outcomes, and each outcome will lead to another checkpoint. So we want to have people to have a platform where people can build this kind of decision tree, and then they can define like if you have this checkpoint and the outcome is like, let's say this outcome, and we will enforce this checkpoint in another blockchain. Let's say this checkpoint, this outcome will make like people spend some money on Ethereum, or even this checkpoint can, let's say, let people move some NFT in Solana or whatever, or maybe this checkpoint can have like we do something on Web2 as well. So So that's and that's the one thing. And another thing is that the reason we want to build our own chain, because we think that we can. Because what we focus right now is not like general blockchain, general computing. No, we do not do that. What we expose to developers is it's all about making decisions. It's about basic function like vote, or basic function like create proposal or enforce. And on the chain level, I can identify a transaction is a vote transaction, or is a proposal transaction, and we can be more creative and have more room to be creative on how we take fees from user. Let's say we are not going to take any fee for we're not going to take any fee for voting this for voting, because like we say that voting is basic human right, and you can vote whatever you want, but we are not going to take the fee from you. This thing we can only do it if we design our own blockchain. Sorry, wait me a second.
Okay, so if you can go back to the chart, I might be able to give an example for you. Yeah. So what K2 just talk about, it might sound like a lot of technical things, but uh it's actually like when we running our own hectagons, as you can as you can see, um, let's say in Hectagon, for example, like me and James, we have met with each other at least about 2 to 3 times to discuss about like what's the investment process for Hectagon should look like. And if you go back to our forums and look back at all the previous proposals, you can still see a a proposal on the complete investment process that we are currently following, right? But that process was developed about at the beginning of August in preparations for running the fund. Now that process, that investment process is basically a decision making process that K2 is mentioning about. And then after we propose that process and that process get approved, we actually we did have another like 3 to 4 meetings within the teams to discuss like how we can improve that process and how we can actually involve more community members into the process of working with us. And that's where you see Jean in the last 3 weeks, she trying to recruit contributors to help us doing research. Now, the very frustrating thing is that we let's say me and Jean, we run the investment teams, and then we want to involve the community members together. But a lot of that process is manually, very heavily in the manual work. First of all, when we talk to the contributors, we have to ask them about like all sort of different software. Do they have an account or not, or are they willing to create an account to be able to work with us? But even before that, more importantly, is let's say me and James, we have a sit down discussion with each other on how we should change the investment process and how we should involve community member into that process. There's no ways for us to codify that quickly. Let's say we want to change our process and then we want to show it off on our Hectagon apps. It would take, aside from any designing process, it will take about like 3 to 4 weeks to just code the whole process out. And then if there's something wrong with the process, we have like our tech team will have to basically starting from scratch and create everything from new. That's the current state of the decision making process developments. And let's say if you running a DAO, you're running an organization, and you just want to quickly test if your process work or not, and then quickly change it to test it again. If it takes you about like four weeks to be able to test a process, that's not going to work. And not every DAO have a full teams like Hectagon. Like in Hectagon, we have like me and a couple of other people coming from the like investment background, K2s and Gangas, and a couple other people coming from technology and product backgrounds. And that's how we're able to do a lot of things across the board. But like for most now, it would just be the idea of couple people have a missions, want to start something together, want to build the communities and allow the communities to um, to work with the core teams, original core team, and yeah, at at this time, let's say any DAO who want to implement any sort of decision making process together with the communities, if they have a full tech team, it will take about like 3 to 4 weeks to code the thing. Uh, if not, there's no way for anyone to run it out.
Yeah. So that's the reason why in the first, let's say the first team, the first product team in here, we are going to design a tool for people to make to like, let's say you are on Polygon. We take an example on Polygon. And if you're on Polygon and I'm going to build a tool for you on Polygon to build your own decision making process. The reason why we choose this approach to build this thing instead of you build a chain like immediately, like everyone focus on a chain immediately, because like we still want to learn more from the community and want to have more traction, like, and really have like some people really use the idea. And by doing this software, we can learn from the limit if we don't really have our own chains. For example, I told you, like, for example, if we use things on Polygon or whatever network, there's no way for people to identify between, let's say, this is a voting transaction, or this is a proposal transaction, or this is a, let's say, enforcement transaction. And if I want to make own voting transaction is free, how can I do it? It's impossible to do it on Polygon. And the next thing is that when we come to decision making process, we understand that not every community want to public everything, right? It's good for people who participate in the decision making process to know everything, but it's not good for everything outside of that organization to know everything. So that's one thing, like that's the thing that we acknowledge, that without building our own chain, it is impossible to implement that privacy function. So, but what we try to do is that we want to build a tool on a chain like Polygon first to expand our user base, have someone to test the idea, and have like really see that if our new chain, what features our new chain really have to focus on. And the second team we are going to do is that we will have a team to focus on building a blockchain that support all the future use case of let's say a decision making process like this. And we want to add, you just heard Link say, we want to scale down the development process for everyone who want to build a DAO, let's say an investment DAO, from like few weeks, few months or few weeks into just few days, 1 to 2 days. And the use case for software that help you design a decision making process actually is really huge. We can help people to design a voting app. Let's say voting here, whatever it mean like voting for some decision in the DAO, or voting. Let's say you want to elect for someone in the government. But we can also have people to build things like HR recruitment app, because actually HR recruitment is a decision making process. You have like CV, and that you have someone to interview, and after interview you have to decide together at the board that you want to move the person to the next interview or not. And after the next interview, you have someone to decide that you want to hire them or not. So actually, HR recruitment app is just a series of decision making process, and what we can, that's a perfect use case for our blockchain. Also, let's say fund management platform is this something we already talked about. Budgeting tool, in every organization they have to creating budget, and budget is series of decision making process. If you want to, let's say if I want to ask for a budget of $5,000 to make this software, and then I have to ask a series of people if they approve my budget. And so if you take a look at the corporation, budgeting is actually is a quite a time consuming work, and we want to, and there's no way to codify it until now. So we want to build like budgeting tool into a blockchain, and something like public bidding, where all the public project will be open, and every company can bidding for the project, and the decision making process will be on the open. Everyone who joins the bidding process will have a voice and using their own token. What I mean here is public bidding doesn't necessarily to be something related to government, but it could be something related to a DAO. Let's say right now I'm a part of Solana Super Team, and we have to do a lot of things. Like I see a lot of people doing things like if they want to approve a grant or they want to approve like someone will win a bounty or not. And it's a series of decision making process of everything is manually right now, and there's no way for those people to make it transparent, because the fund is actually is not belong to those people. The fund is belong to the community, because the fund come from a community pool. But there's no way for people right now to make it like super transparent, because the technology is not there yet. There's nothing like the thing that we are talking about here, and etc. So actually the use case for this chain is huge, and we think that this blockchain is not going to compete with other chain, but it will enhance other blockchain and make the Web3 ecosystem stronger, because we are not going to take away other people's users. Because like, let's say you have a blockchain used specifically for game, perfect. Your user just stay there. But within that game, if you want to have some, let's say, some function for people to build a guild, and that in that guild people can design a decision making process to, let's say, to vote for if you want to do this quest or not. Then at that time, people inside that game can vote, and the voting machine is in our blockchain. But the actual user, they don't have to leave their own blockchain. Just use their existing blockchain, and they can vote in our blockchain. And that technology is already available. And so we are not going to compete, but enhance other, because the treasury stay in that place. We don't want to steal their treasury. It is not our job. Our job is like making use case on decision making, and users not going to move away their own blockchain, just stay there. And the only one who have to know about our blockchain is the DAO maker, the one that create the one that design the decision making process. And user experience been really smooth, because we won't want to make it complex. People whoever is using their chain just stay there. They don't have to like have additional wallet or something. They might need additional wallet once they want some advanced function in our blockchain. But if they want to use it just to participate in a decision making process, that is fine. Just like use their own their existing blockchain. And so how the blockchain design will look like. So the use case in here, you see that we have like, I have a very simple use case in here. We have someone in Solana vote, and it will it run the machine and update everything in our D chain. And if the condition is met, and actually it will go to Ethereum and will enforce the decision. So this is the use case. Speaking of a blockchain, so our direct users will be the developers. So we want to make these blockchains really simple for people to use. And the reason why we can make it simple and still very powerful, because we already narrowed out the use case. You see that blockchain like Solana or Ethereum, they want to do everything. So that's the reason why their tech is super complex, because they want to do everything. That's all. And actually, even they have a very complex tech, their blockchain is still have problems sometimes. What we try to do is that, and the problem is not coming. Actually, if you take a really closely look, the problem actually is not coming from themselves. The problem comes from when people use a smart contract and interact with blockchain. And why is that problem? Because the smart contract is written by some blockchain engineer, and sometimes they write program that actually they do not write very well. So what we try to do is that we want to make our blockchain very specific. So the people who write smart contract our blockchain, they can use a very simple language, and actually they are not going to write complex thing. What they do is that they will write some configuration to put together all the objects that we give them, all the checkpoint and all the enforcer that will build a decision making process. So if you are technical enthusiasts, you can take a look at the white paper. I have a version for developer in here, and you can see all the code for. Let me send it in the chat. But if you like curious on the tech and you want to see how we can implement, how as a developer, how can we code in this blockchain, you can take a look at this. Actually, it's super simple, because I intend to keep it simple and just use JavaScript in here. Everything in here is just configuration, and with configuration, thing is if it's only configuration, and it's really hard for things to go back, because like I already limit the things you can do. So yeah, so basically that's everything. If you like take a closer look at this one, you will see more thing in here. And this document is still, I'm still updating this document. Most of the stuff before the discussion on the chain design is already done. Now I'm working more on the chain design. So yeah, so coming back to the roadmap. So the roadmap is that we are going to have two teams. The first one is going to before we have a chain, we will build some tool for people to design a decision making process and really have some people to use it. And the second team is working on the blockchain. And that is another, before I end my part, I want to give another example. It's like synonym for you guys to understand this easier. Just think about the way we build the decision making process. It's just like we want to build website, right? Think about it, like 20 years ago when people start thinking about website, and they think that, okay, I think like everyone needs a website, and a lot of people build a website. So the thesis the thesis we have in here, that actually humans are making decisions together like every day, every time. I live in a family. I have my wife, my parents in here, and we make decisions together a lot of time. And I have you guys in Hectagon, and we make like a lot of decisions together. Most decisions I make, like individually, like maybe like 40% I make it individually, and most decisions, that most important decision I make it with a team. Especially like sometimes even my personal decision, I have some mentors that help me with my decision. And I don't want to make like I don't want to make decision on my own on some super important stuff with me. I will actually, right now, even with our blockchain, I still have to do it with some mentors. So so my thesis is that the need for people to build like a decision making process and implement it, so that need is huge. That need is something similar to website. And in website, when people realize that they need that much of website and they have to build WordPress, WordPress as an open source software for people to build website. And in here we are going to have DChain. The DChain will be something similar to WordPress and have people to build their own decision making process. And because it's a technology platform, so it's direct. The DChain direct user will be developer who will go here, who will come here and develop software and develop very like user friendly interface for people to make decisions together. So so that's the thesis. So just think of DChain just like WordPress. When we will be the WordPress for making decisions together. Actually, so come back to the original thing I talked at the beginning. Like for human being, we need like we always talk about money, power, and fame. So so this DChain is talking about power. We're talking about like how we make decisions together, like who have more power in one decision, and how to codify it and make it like transparent. So I think that's the reason why we think DChain will be very important for blockchain ecosystem from now to the infinity, because like we that's the thing that we human we always talk about. And so that's the thing that we are going to do in 2023. And we pivot from just doing a simple investment DAO into a blockchain that we want to have like many billion people on the planet to build like to codify their organization structure, so their decision making process and make decisions together, and also like improve that process over time. Yeah. So Felicia, I finished. Hello. Yeah. I think I finished. I finished my part about the chain.
Thank you, K2. Sorry, I having some trouble unmuting my mic.
Yeah.
Thank you, K2. I think, yeah, personally, I totally believe in the idea of a blockchain with a specific use case. This is actually the concept that has been promoted recently by Cosmos layer 0 as well, right? There's some articles they write about that. I totally believe in that, and I hope that through the explanation and the sharing of K2, you guys got a sense of even it is a specific use case blockchain, but the problem that we are trying to solve, the market of decision making process is big enough for us to tap into this case. Because decision making process is something that we need to make, we need it in our everyday life. I just want to tap in a little bit about the reason why we decide to not jump straight into launching the chain, but we have like a cushion step in between, that is launching a tool, not only for DAO, but for organizations to help them improve their decision-making process on chain. We can call it a DAO tool, or we can call it a tool in general for any organization. The reason is because eventually the use case of our blockchain is for decision-making process, which means like in an organization, it is governance and voting. So we want to develop a tool that as an example use case and help us to onboard as many end users with the concept of decentralized governance as possible. So that will be the example case study for our chain as well, and also for us to get a full understanding of what organizations actually need when they want to like digitalize all of the decision making process on chain. And after launching that tool, we will open multiple use cases for other ideas, for other governance, for other DApps as well. So that is the reason why we decided to launch our tool in the Q1 and Q2 of 2023, and by Q4 we will launch our blockchain. Yeah, so thank you, K2, for your sharing. And K2 has dropped the link in the chat box if you want to read more on the white paper. I think this is still in work in progress. This is not the final decision, but you can start reading it. Yeah, we will keep you posted on this as well. So now let's move on to the last part, which is the I will quickly update with you on a top line plan of what we are going to, how we are going to develop our community in the next year. This is actually a very top line plan. This is not an execution plan, but this will help you to get a snapshot of what will be some changes and how you're going to be a part of it. Yeah, so first let's take a snapshot of how we are and where we are now. So all of us here, we actually started to be gathered together as an investment DAO with a token named Hectagon. So we have some tractions so far that when we compare with other investment DAOs or other protocols with the same launching date, we are pretty got pretty good tractions to compare with them. So we got 40,000 subscribers to our community in total, more than 1,000 DAO contributors, and more than 200 daily and frequently active DAO contributors. And our DAO contributors come from many countries, and also many of them come from reputable organizations as well, as you can see in the screen. And together, our DAO has, because we are an investment DAO, right? So the tractions of what we can contribute to in terms of the investment is really important. So as Ling has shown earlier, we have gathered more than 200 and actually 280 to be exact, projects in pipeline. We have invested in 2 of them, Fancy and Open Food Chain. And Fancy is actually on paper, unrealized profit is already 5x to compare with the amount of money that we invested in, and more than 100 of them are still in review. And yeah, we got a pretty good deals pipeline coming from our partners, and also we got co-investment deals with some of the top names in the market like Binance or DAO Maker or Podcast Starter as well. Yeah, so that is the snapshot of our current DAO, current investment DAO. So as K2 has shared briefly with you on the roadmap of 2023, I just want to take a look back to a little bit on the history as well. So exactly 1 year ago, on December 2021, it is the ideation stage of Hectagon, and then we launched our testnet with a DAO platform. So we are an investment DAO. Which other investment DAO, they will use existing tools in the market to create our token, their token, to manage the community or to manage the treasury and report to the token holders, etc. But for us, we decided to develop our own platform, and the testnet, it launched on April, and the mainnet and the token launched on August. So we position the Hecta investment DAO launched on BSC BNB chain is our in-house test case of our technology platform that helps us to better understanding and have the better insights of how to run and how to manage a DAO properly. And yeah, this test case, we have some traction that you can see on the screen right now. And since October, we started to develop, spend huge resources and time and effort in the UI UX design of our DAO platform, so that and we also tested with multiple potential DAO partners as well, and we got a pretty good feedbacks on the UI UX design that is very intuitive and user friendly to compare with other tools in the market. And since then to December, we started, SK2 just mentioned that we started to finalize on our research that what is the use case, the most important use case and the niche that we want to tap into. That is the decision-making process, governance, and voting, right? And also we decided to not only launch our DAO tool, DAO platform, we also decided to launch our chain to help people to make decision on chain as well. And that idea of both the chain and the DAO tool, we also have test that thesis with multiple reputable partners and VC investors, and got a pretty good, pretty positive feedback on our thesis as well. And yeah, moving forward, our for the tools, we are about to launch it in the Q1. So we will kickstart with some of our partners, our DAO partners, who are the founders or the managers of Web2 moving to Web3 DAO. Some of them most of them are in Asia actually. Yeah, we will run we will have the white glove support with them to run their DAO on our platform in Q1, and then at the end of Q1 it will be open for self-service users, and we plan to integrate with other DAO tools in the market, in other segments of running and managing a DAO as well, for us to scale and grow faster. And then at the end of 2023, we will launch our Hectagon chain. So yeah, talk specifically about the Hectagon community. So currently, we are all here as a member of the Hecta Investment Dao, and currently we're having more than 900 Hecta holders, including our private investors, VCs or angel investors in the private round, our retail investors. Many of you guys are here. Who want to have a chance to invest early into private and seed round of projects. And last but not least, play a very important role are our DAO contributors in terms of both investment team and our marketing and growth team as well. And for the status of this community, of this DAO, we are actually not seeking for new members. We was so the purpose of this DAO and the purpose of this community is we will maintain and keep update our members on the investment progress, and also report with you on the the performance of the investment DAO, and engage everyone to govern the decision in terms of the investment and in terms of the investment DAO development as well. But we are not planning to recruit more members into this DAO. Because of the new direction in the product that we just share, K2 and I just shared with you briefly earlier. So there will be a new community that we will develop in 2023 that will be focused on the DAO tool and the chain, the D chain. Who they are, who will be in this community, we expect that the existing Hecta holders will also be a part of this community as well, because we will have an airdrop campaign for all of the existing Hecta holders until the launch date of the token that we are finalizing on the plan, and we'll share with you in short, especially in Q1 of 2023. And also, besides the existing Hecta holder, we also welcome new members as well, which we expect to be the DAO founders and managers, which will use our DAO tool, and also the DApp developers that will be beneficial from our D chain infrastructure as well. So we will start building and growing this part of the community in January, and the purpose is to attract users, onboard users to use our DAO tool, and also to attract builders for our chain. So what is the plan? This is just a very top line. Our team is working on a more specific and detailed execution plan already. But yeah, just to keep updated with the community on very top line plan to grow the second part of the community for the DAO tool and the chain. There will be 3 parts. The first one is educational content. Before, when we run our investment DAO, most of our social content is focusing on promoting the benefits of joining our investment DAO or holding our Hecta token. But for now, since we want to onboard more people into DAO and also into the decentralized governance on-chain, we will need to produce and release a lot more educational content. On Twitter and Facebook, the written content will be on general education on DAO and DAO market analysis. And so that would be very helpful for anyone who want to learn more about DAO, who want to participate in DAO, or who want to launch their own DAO as well. And also we want to develop a podcast series that we will invite other DAO founders or other DAO tools developers as well to have a fireside chat or interview on the case study on the usage of the use case of DAO currently in the market. So that this will be a very exciting initiative that we will kickstart it really soon and share with you on the detailed plan later. The second element is the activity. So we have been requested by some university and some organizations to like run a course or a workshop for them to what is Web3 or what is DAO and what is the current use case and that is applicable for them. So this is also one thing that we will be that will be our initiative, our focused initiative in 2023. We will launch online course and workshops on how to launch, how to manage, and how to grow your DAO. And our target market of these activities will be in Asia, because actually DAO's concept in Asia it's not new anymore, but there are not like many success case study in Asia that people can learn and exchange notes with each other. So Asia will be our focus market for those activities. And also for the events, we will organize the meetup and the builders meetup on those topics as well. And also the target market is also Asia. So we already have partners in Singapore, in Korea, and ideally in Japan soon. So yeah, the activity we hope to kickstart the online and offline activity very soon. The third element for the plan to grow community is the partnership. So we are already tapping into the first element here, which is the talking with multiple DAO founders or DAO managers, which are about to launch DAO with very practical use cases. And we will help them to launch their DAO and also use our tool to manage their work, to make the full pipeline of decision-making process on our platform. And at the same time, we will kickstart the conversation with other DAO tools by quarter two to integrate with them. So as stated with you earlier, that we are not going to build a all-in-one platform because many of the platforms in the market are trying to do that. But if we're trying to do everything, then nothing. We can do it the best. So that we only want to focus on the governance and voting feature of DAO. For the other features, we will partner and integrate with other DAO tools existing in the market. Yeah, so there will be some immediate changes regarding all of the ideas and the plan that I just mentioned with you. The first thing is that for the community call, so now as I say that this investment DAO, it's will only focus the discussion of us will only focus on the investment progress and the investment updates, so that for the information to be consolidated and to really have the progress to update with you guys, we propose that the community call will be run monthly by the end of the month. And the topic will mostly focus on the investment updates. Meanwhile, on the other side of the content, which is the updates on the products, the tools and the chain, we will provide those contents on our social media and also via our community activity as well. So those will be on DAO education, informative content, and not promotion on our Hectag token. Yeah, so this will be the two key changes that will effective from the from the January, so that we would like to update with you guys. So that is basically the end of my update today. And yeah, so K2 and Ling, do you want to add on anything here?
No, Felicia, I think I'm good.
Yes. Okay, I think so since today is the last community call of 2022, so we decided to have a longer run than usual. So we still have some minutes left. And so if you guys have any question, you can raise your hand or you can drop the question into the chat box and we are happy to address.